My name is Isabel. I am 29 years old. I live in New York City now, but my story began far away in a small village in southern Mexico. A place of warm sun, dust-covered streets, and people who work with their hands and their hearts. I didn't come to New York for adventure or dreams of fame. I came because my family needed me. My mother can no longer walk. Arthritis has taken her legs. My father, once strong like a mountain, is now quiet and tired. My sister, Daniela, is still in school. She's smart, and she wants to become a nurse. But school costs money, medicine costs money, and in our house, there was no more of it. So I left. One early morning, just as the sky turned gray, my mother hugged me for the last time. "Be safe, mi Nina," she whispered, her voice shaking. My father handed me the few pesos he had left. It wasn't much, but it was everything. Daniela gave me a bracelet, thin red thread with 3 tiny white beads. "This is lucky," she said. "Wear it every day." I kissed them all goodbye. I held my tears until the bus pulled away. Then I cried the whole way north. When I arrived in New York, the city felt enormous. It roared with life. The streets were loud, filled with yellow taxis, people in suits, fast feet, fast words. Skyscrapers blocked the sun. I felt like a shadow, small and unnoticed. I stayed with my cousin Camila. She had been in New York for 3 years and worked as a hotel cleaner. She lived in a small room with a cracked window, a noisy heater, and 2 old mattresses on the floor. "You must find work, Isabel," she said. "Life here is not easy." I nodded. I knew that already. The next morning, I wore the same clothes I had worn on the bus. I brushed my hair, tied on my sister's bracelet, and walked the city streets. I stopped at shops, cafes, restaurants. "Do you need help?" I asked in broken English. "I can clean." Most people shook their heads. Some didn't answer. One woman said, "Sorry, no English," and closed the door. By the end of the day, my legs ached. My shoes, already thin, had blisters in them. But I didn't stop. I couldn't. I hadn't come this far to give up. That evening, Camila came home from work holding a small folded paper. Her fingers were cold from cleaning hotel windows, but her eyes were bright. "A school needs a cleaner," she said. "It's not far. Go tomorrow. Be early." I looked at the paper. It had an address and a name. Miss Lillian Carter, Maplewood Elementary. I didn't sleep much that night. I washed my clothes in the sink. I laid them flat on the heater. I brushed my hair, practiced saying, "Hello, I am Isabel," and prayed in whispers. The next morning, I left before sunrise. The streets were empty. I held the paper tight and walked fast. I wore the red bracelet. I wore hope. The school was a red brick building with big windows and blue doors. Children weren't there yet, just a few staff arriving early. A woman with short blonde hair stood near the entrance. She wore a blue coat and held a clipboard. "Hello," she said kindly. "Are you Isabel?" I nodded. "Yes, I am Isabel." "Come in," she said. "I'm Lillian Carter." She led me into a small office. We sat across from each other. I was nervous. My hands were cold. She smiled. "Where are you from?" "Mexico," I said. "South. When did you arrive?" "Last week." "Do you speak English?" "A little," I said softly. "But I want to learn." She wrote something on a piece of paper. Then she asked, "Why do you want this job?" I looked at her, unsure of the words. "I want to work. I need money. My family." She nodded, understanding. "Have you cleaned before?" "Yes," I said, a bit stronger. "School. Floors. Trash. Windows. This job is 5 days a week, mornings." "Yes. I come." $2,000 a month, she said. I blinked. That was more than I had ever made. "Can I take English classes?" I asked, afraid. Lillian smiled. "Yes, we can help with that." My heart swelled. I wanted to cry. "Thank you," I whispered. That first Monday, I woke before the sun. My room was cold, but my heart was warm. I put on clean clothes, tied my hair, and wore Daniela's bracelet. On the train, I held a note from Camila, "You can do it." When I arrived, Lillian met me at the back door. "Good morning, Isabel," she said with a smile. "Welcome." She showed me the small janitor's room. It smelled like lemon cleaner. There were mops, gloves, soap, buckets. Then she handed me a task sheet: sweep and mop hallways, clean bathrooms, take out trash, help with classroom chairs. I can do, I said. She showed me the classrooms. Small desks, bright colors, drawings on walls. The school felt warm. It felt safe. I began in the teacher's lounge. I cleaned the sink, wiped the fridge, emptied the trash. A woman walked in and smiled. Thank you, she said. You're welcome, I replied, my heart lifting. Later, I cleaned a classroom. The windows were high. My arms hurt. I stopped and looked outside. Children were arriving, laughing. That made me smile. At lunch, I sat alone in the cleaning room and ate bread. A teacher sat beside me. First day, she asked gently. I nodded. Yes. You're doing well, she said. If you want help with English, I can help. My eyes widened. Yes, please. That afternoon, I helped move chairs with another cleaner. Her name was Rosa. She was from Peru. She spoke English and Spanish. You work fast, she said. Thank you, I said. I help you, she added. We are workers. We help each other. By the end of the day, my back hurt. But my spirit didn't. That night, I called my mother. I have a job, I said. I clean a school. She cried. I'm proud of you. So did I. Each day I woke early, dressed, and worked. I cleaned, I smiled, I helped Rosa, and I learned. Rosa taught me small words. Good morning. I clean now. Thank you. I wrote them in a notebook I bought from the dollar store. I repeated them on the train, at work, at night before bed. By the end of the day, my back hurt. But my spirit didn't. That night, I called my mother. I have a job, I said. I clean a school. She cried. I'm proud of you. So did I. Each day I woke early, dressed, and worked. I cleaned, I smiled, I helped Rosa, and I learned. Rosa taught me small words. Good morning. I clean now. Thank you. I wrote them in a notebook I bought from the dollar store. I repeated them on the train, at work, at night before bed. By the end of the week, Rosa gave me a small flyer. Free English classes, it said. Go after work, Rosa told me. They help. That evening I went. The class was in a small room above a grocery store. There were 10 people, men and women from Brazil, Syria, China, Haiti. We all wanted the same thing: to understand, to speak, to belong. The teacher, Ms. Harper, smiled. Welcome. We learned together. We began with names. My name is Isabel, I said. Nice to meet you, Isabel, she said. We learned. Where are you from? What do you do? I work in a school. I wrote everything down. I practiced at home. I spoke into the mirror. Hello, my name is Isabel. I work in a school. I laughed at myself. But I kept going. By the third week, I was saying more. One day, a child dropped milk. I ran to clean it. Thank you, Isabel, said the teacher. The boy said sorry. It's okay, I smiled. On Friday, the school principal asked to see me. My heart raced. She smiled. Thank you, Isabel. You work hard. The school is clean. The teachers are happy. She offered more hours. More money. Clean the lunchroom too. I nodded fast. Yes. Thank you. That night, I wrote my first letter home. I included $100. By medicine, I wrote. Take care of Mama. Time passed. I worked. I learned. I saved. I still missed home. I still lived in a small room. But I was not the same woman who stepped off that bus. I was stronger now. Rosa and I became close. She gave me a gift, a pen and a card that said, "You are kind." One day my English teacher asked me to read aloud. I stood in front of the class, nervous, and read a paragraph slowly. I made mistakes, but I finished. Everyone clapped. Later, at work, I spoke more. Good morning. How are you? Can I help? The teachers smiled back. You're getting better, one said. One Sunday, Rosa and I sat in a cafe. She asked me, what is your dream? I looked at the sky. To study. To help children. Maybe teach. She smiled. You will. You are brave. That night, I wrote a new list in my notebook. Work hard. Speak more English. Help my family. Keep learning. Believe in myself. I looked at my sister's bracelet. I held it close. I wasn't just surviving now. I was building something. And this, I knew, was only the beginning. It rained for 3 days in a row. The wind slammed against the windows of the school. Water pooled near the entrance. I worked harder than usual, mopping wet floors, drying benches, wiping muddy footprints. My back ached, but I kept smiling. One afternoon, as I dried the front hallway, a delivery man entered holding a wet envelope. "For Isabel," he said. I stared at it, my name in Daniela's handwriting. My hand shook. I opened it carefully. "Isabel," the letter began. "Mama is walking more now. The medicine is working. Papa is planting vegetables again. I passed my exams. I help Mama every day. We are proud of you. I wear a bracelet like yours. I feel strong." I pressed the letter to my heart. Tears rolled down my cheeks. Outside, the rain kept falling. Inside, I was warm. December came. It was my first Christmas in New York. Snow covered the streets. Children made snowmen outside the school. Their laughter made me smile as I cleaned the windows from inside. I had saved $50. I wanted to send gifts home. I bought a wool scarf for Mama, a book for Daniela, and a small flashlight for Papa. In a second-hand shop, I found a bracelet red thread with 3 white beads, just like mine. I wrapped everything carefully and mailed the box. On Christmas Eve, I sat alone in Camila's room, sipping tea. She worked late. Outside, fireworks popped in the cold sky. I lit a small candle and whispered, "Feliz Navidad." One cold January morning, I was sweeping the lunchroom when Lillian, the school director, walked in. "Isabel," she said, "can I speak with you?" I followed her to her office. My hands were still wet from cleaning. "We're starting an after-school reading club," she said. "We need someone to help organize books and tidy the room afterward. It's a few extra hours a week. Would you be interested?" I blinked. Books. Children. A chance to be near learning. "Yes," I said quickly. "Yes, please." "Wonderful," she smiled. "And you can listen to the reading sessions. You might pick up more English." I nearly cried. That evening, I sat near the children's corner while a teacher read aloud. "The fox said, 'I will not give up,'" the teacher said. And I smiled because I understood the words. Helping with the reading club became my favorite part of the day. I cleaned the floor quickly so I could sit near the bookshelves and listen. I didn't speak much, but I watched the children's faces as they listened. They laughed, gasped, and clapped. Sometimes, I read quietly to myself after the club ended. One day, a boy named Milo gave me a drawing. It was a stick figure sweeping, with a red bracelet on its wrist. "You help us," he said. I hung it in my cleaning closet. That night, I sent a photo of it to my family. "My work has meaning," I wrote. One afternoon, in English class, Miss Harper gave us a test. It wasn't hard, just a few pages of fill-in-the-blanks and a short writing part. Still, my hands trembled. I sat at the back and wrote slowly. 2 days later, Miss Harper gave me the paper back. A big red circle said 90%. I had never scored that high before in anything. I didn't tell anyone that night. I just walked home slowly, my cheeks warm. I wrapped everything carefully and mailed the box. On Christmas Eve, I sat alone in Camila's room, sipping tea. She worked late. Outside, fireworks popped in the cold sky. In the winter wind. When I got to my room, I laid the test beside my bracelet. Then I cried. Happy tears. Spring brought green to the trees and warmth to the school playground. One afternoon, I helped a teacher move chairs after an assembly. Her name was Mrs. Rivera. She had dark curly hair and spoke Spanish and English. "You work very hard, Isabel," she said. "Thank you," I smiled. "Would you like to visit my house this Sunday?" she asked. "Just for coffee. Some of the teachers are coming." I paused. I had never been invited anywhere before. "Yes," I said. That Sunday, I wore my cleanest clothes and brought a small bag of pan dulce. Mrs. Rivera's apartment was filled with music and laughter. I sat on a couch near the window and listened. They didn't mind my quiet. They included me. One teacher handed me a cup of coffee and said, "We're glad you're here." I didn't speak much, but I felt seen. One night, Camila handed me her phone. "It's your sister," she said. I took it with shaky hands. "Isabel." Daniela's voice rang through. "I got a scholarship," she said, "to study nursing. Full tuition. I start next month." I laughed and cried at the same time. "I'm so proud of you," I whispered. "You helped me," she said. "You cleaned schools so I could sit in one." That call stayed in my heart for days. In early summer, Lillian pulled me aside again. "There's a part-time assistant opening in the kindergarten," she said. "You wouldn't teach, but you'd help with classroom setup, tidying, and reading time. You'd need to speak more English, though." My heart raced. "I will try," I said. "You'll need to interview." An interview. A real one. I was terrified, but Rosa helped me practice. For 2 nights, I rehearsed. "Why do you want this job?" she asked. "I like children. I want to help." "What do you do well?" "I work hard. I am kind. I learn fast." The day came. I wore my nicest blouse, my lucky bracelet. I walked into the office, hands sweating. The teacher asked questions. I answered slowly, carefully. I spoke from my heart. 2 days later, they said yes. I started in the kindergarten room in September. I still cleaned, but now I also helped the children with jackets, handed out crayons, and read simple books aloud. Brown bear, what do you see?" They listened to me. They smiled. They called me Miss Isabel. I still cleaned floors, but now I also taught a child how to zip his coat. I helped another one tie her shoes. I read The Very Hungry Caterpillar 10 times in one day. At night, I wrote new words in my notebook. Kindergarten. Crayons. Story time. Belong. Grow. 1 year later, I still wore old shoes. I still lived in a small room. But I had changed. I was not the girl who whispered hello and hoped for a chance. I was Isabel. I had a job, a purpose, a growing voice. I sent money home every month. Mama's medicine, Daniela's books, Papa's tools. I wrote them long letters. I used English words. Daniela helped Mama read them. One Sunday, I sat in the park. The trees were full of green. Birds chirped. I looked at my bracelet. The red thread was faded. The beads chipped. But it still held strong. So did I. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, comment, and share more. Emotional and inspiring stories are coming soon.